The election of 1824 is going to be unique in terms of the fact that it gets sent to the Congress once more, like we saw with the election of 1800. But it's not going to be as drawn out. But nonetheless, here are the results of the election. Andrew Jackson is going to be number one. He's going to have 38% of the electoral vote, which is 99, and about 43% of the popular vote. Adams has 84 electoral votes, or 32% of the electoral vote, along with 31% of the popular vote. And Henry Clay is going to have 31 electoral votes, and only 13% of the popular vote. The problem is this. Nobody has a clear majority of the Electoral College. Remember, it's the majority of the Electoral College that elects you President of the United States. So therefore, there's going to be a runoff election in the House of Representatives. So the top candidates are going to be voted upon. As Speaker of the House, Henry Clay has an enormous influence when it comes to who's going to win this election. And when, in fact, Clay is going to detest Jackson. He's going to say, I cannot believe that killing 2,500 Englishmen at New Orleans qualifies for the duties of the first magistrate. Basically saying that's his only claim to fame. And basically what happens is that the House of Representatives votes in favor of John Quincy Adams as President of the United States, despite the fact that Jackson has actually just slightly less popular votes than Adams and Clay combined. So Adams comes out as President of the United States through the House of Representatives, and Jackson's going to say, I was robbed, and he's going to call this a corrupt bargain. And the reason why is because of what happens after Adams is named the new president. Henry Clay is going to be nominated as Secretary of State. And Jackson says, aha, there is a corrupt bargain. The idea here is that Clay, as Speaker of the House, engineered the votes to get Adams into the presidency. And in return for those votes, Adams declared he is going to nominate him as Secretary of State. Now, we don't really care who the Secretary of State is that much anymore. I mean, I challenge anybody watching to name in your mind, obviously, the last 5 Secretaries of State. And the thing is, back then, what we were going to have is we're going to have the Secretary of State be the jumping off point of a person going from the Secretary of State all the way to the President of the United States. And when you look at it historically, it is so. Think of the last, let's see how many presidents we've had so far. Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, and now we got John Quincy Adams. Well, if you look at who becomes President of the United States and what their political office experience is, you'll notice that many of them were actually previously Secretary of State. Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, and now you have John Quincy Adams. All 4 of these guys were Secretaries of State at one time. So Jackson's going to say, look, these 2 guys have negotiated a corrupt bargain. Clay used his influence in the House of Representatives to engineer the votes for Adams in return becoming Secretary of State, so that once Adams finishes his 2 terms, Clay can become President of the United States. That's the alleged bargain. But nonetheless, Jackson is going to basically say, I was robbed. And he's going to basically take for the next 4 years and campaign for President of the United States. Now, you thought 2-year-long campaigns are annoying. When Jackson's doing almost a 4-year campaign. In fact, he creates what's now the Democratic Party. Don't confuse this Democratic Party with today's Democratic Party. It is the same party, but definitely not the same politics. The Democratic Party of Jackson is a much more conservative party than the Democratic Party of today. But nonetheless, Adams has a very difficult presidency. Many people are going to be upset with the way that he became President of the United States, and he's not going to do very much as President of the United States. The Congress doesn't pass many of his proposals, mainly because of the fact that it was a vision of an activist government. But nonetheless, what we're going to see is that the 2 men, Jackson and Adams, are going to have a rematch in 1828, and we're going to see exactly how Jackson fares.